What is going on, everybody here? Welcome to DTL Golf, part of the Driving the Line universe. You're home live each and every Tuesday at 3 p.m. You can also check us out on demand. We love you there too. But to get the full experience, you want to be right here live. Get into the chat, and we will dial in your questions and all of that. Remember to smash and hit that like button and subscribe and do all that great stuff. Keep building our numbers. Things are going great. Now, I know you all realize that the coach, he's not here. His energy, his do I feel good today is not quite here yet. He's on his way back from the World Long Drive Championship in South Carolina, and he was nice enough to give me, Steve Scott, the keys to the kingdom today. And so, Coach, thanks for entrusting me to keep the train on said track. Now, after 2 weeks in Scotland, we get your betting minds back into the United States to Blaine, Minnesota, just outside of Minneapolis. And we've got the 3M Open on tap this week. Keep in mind, we only have 2 events left on the PGA Tour schedule with the Olympics sandwiched in between before the FedEx Cup playoffs. We want to get you into that top 70 in the FedEx Cup playoffs. You got 8 rounds of golf to do it. Now, speaking of the World Long Drive, like I mentioned that the coach is coming back from, we have the stars of the show right here today. Let's welcome them in. And one of them has taken his own World Long Drive Championship, not once, not twice, but 3 times World Long Drive champion, Fast Eddie Fernandes. Let's start with you. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, great to be here, boys. Steve, that was a really solid impression. I love it. But yeah, it was. Look, it was a great way to go out. I retired from long drive competition, won my third belt, which is right over there, right? If you can see that. So got 3 of them, and yeah, I hit it great. And as we were talking before, I was so calm as I was doing it. I was kind of in the zone. I felt exactly the same as 2022 when I won. And I just hit the first 2 balls on the button and kind of put the pressure on early. And here we are, 3-time champ and retired world number 1. So it feels good.
362-yard salvo to win that thing. RD, Robert Damron, our PGA Tour winner, our all-around great guy, the man with the big knowledge. Have you ever hit one 362?
No, hell no. Feet. Nowadays, 362 feet is pretty damn strong. In all seriousness, Eddie's been working his butt off. He posts all the training videos on his Instagram, and big congratulations, man. And to go out on top, you're like our Floyd Mayweather. You retire on the top.
That's right.
Well done for you. Good. And Steve, inmates are in charge of the asylum today without Coach here. I think we'll do all right, though.
All right. Well, pick me up if I fall. I know you will. We're a great team here at DTL Golf. But let's just jump into kind of the first topic on my mind today, and really coming off of that Open Championship, Xander Schauffele. Is there a cooler title in golf, RD, than the Champion Golfer of the Year?
No, not at all. And I learned what that meant. Actually last week or 2 weeks ago at the Scottish, why they use that term. There's a guy named Allan Robertson that even before like the Tom Morris, old Tom Morris, he was the best golfer on the planet. And they just, he was the champion golfer, they called him. So when he retired, they had a tournament to see who is for that year the best player in the world, the champion golfer. So it's all because of Allan Robertson. A little history lesson I got a couple weeks ago.
Wow, yeah. I didn't do that. I mean, Fast Eddie, this guy, Xander Schauffele, 65 in the final round, no bogeys. He didn't make one bogey under all of that pressure, under all that strain, under all the wind coming into him. I mean, what a tough venue Royal Troon was for all of these players. I mean, Rory McIlroy and Bryce DeChambeau missed the cut.
Trunk slamming.
Yeah.
For Xander to go bogey free, he was 1 shot back to go bogey free on 18 or on Sunday, shoot 31 in the back 9. I mean, what more can you say about this guy? And look, he is playing at the top of his game right now. Him and Scheffler have really separated themselves as the 2 best players in the world, and I think it's going to be a very interesting end of the year. So we'll see what happens. Can't wait to discuss it more in detail later.
Well, so the question that I have for both of you, and Fast Eddie, you can answer this first. If you took Xander, and he's got 2 victories this year, both
Mm.
major championships, PGA Championship at Valhalla, and now the Open Championship at Royal Troon, would you take him if you had to vote right now? Would you take him over Scotty Scheffler for the year that they both have? Where would your Player of the Year pick fall?
I would not, and here's why. 2 majors is, it's only been done, only a few times. So, look, I go Scotty. He's won the Masters and he's won 6 events total. That's few and far between. So I think 1 major and 5 other wins outweighs the 2 majors. But if Xander wins again and maybe the FedEx Cup, it's going to be neck and neck between those two. So I just think it's going to be a really interesting end of the year. But you can't go wrong with either one. If Xander wins again, or say he wins the FedEx Cup, I mean, Scotty could reel off 2 more wins this year. So it's going to be a fun end.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he's got 6 victories on the year already with that Masters victory. I mean, where would your pick in there fall, RD?
Well, the only person that's going to vote right now, let's say it ends right now. Yeah. The only person that's going to vote for Xander is Scotty Scheffler. It'll be a whitewash because you don't want to go in there and vote for yourself. That's kind of cheesy. So the only guy, I don't want to knock Xander because it's incredible what he's done in the last just few weeks, winning 2 majors. But it wasn't that long ago, we were wondering why he can't cross the finish line, why he can get there on the leaderboard time again and not cross the finish line. And now he's learned how to do it. And there's some interesting things coming up and in golf gambling, I think, where you've got most likely, barring something wacky, you're going to start at East Lake with Scheffler at 10 under and Xander at 8 under. I wonder if, because East Lake is Xander's playground, he dominates at that golf course. If you look at his, not his finishes, but like take away the original start and have them all start even, and those finishes, they're incredible. So he loves it. So I wonder if he'll even be a betting favorite, giving the best player in the world 2 shots when it comes to East Lake, if it works out that way, which it most likely will. Man, I don't know. They're both doing just great golf. No sympathy cards needed for either of those 2.
It's an interesting topic to kind of chew on for a little bit to see how the next few weeks do play themselves out. They're both playing in the Olympics. They're both representing the United States. Would a gold medal even kind of shift your mind in there? Who knows? But Hef Sterling in the chat, I'll take 2 majors and no jail time for the better year. So I like that. That's good. That's a good one right there. But let's jump over. We had 2 events last week, and lost in the shuffle a little bit was Nick Dunlap. We've known Nick Dunlap. He was that University of Alabama star who won as an amateur back at the Amex earlier in the year. He won for the 2nd time this year, first time as a professional on the PGA Tour at the Barracuda Championship. Now, what's crazy here, though, with Nick Dunlap is if he has maybe not so great of a final 2 weeks, let's say he misses the cut at both the 3M and the Wyndham, he could finish outside of the top 70 and miss the playoffs altogether, which is just wild to me. But what is your feeling about a player who is 41st in the world golf rankings, and he could potentially miss the playoffs this year? RD.
I almost feel like there should be an exemption if something like that happens. I know there won't be, and it would be a shame. And if he doesn't make the playoffs, it's not like it's going to be a not successful season. He's got a ton of exemption now. He's going to have an extra year of exemption on top of the 2 years that he got for the first win. That's how they do it. You get a second win, you get 1 more year of exemption on top. So for a guy that was in college just a minute ago and now has 3 years after this year of full exemption, and the sky's the limit, I'm sure there'll be plenty of playoffs he's in. Would it be a shame? Yeah. Would it be time to go and shuffle up the way our playoffs work again? No, I don't think, not at all.
Okay. All right. Now, Fast Eddie, now Nick Dunlap is not the only fresh-faced guy out here on the PGA Tour right now. A lot of great amateurs that are getting spots. We saw Luke Clanton finish top 10 at the Rocket Mortgage and almost won the John Deere Classic, the first player amateur in the last 66 years to get in the top 10 on the PGA Tour in 2 consecutive weeks. You've had guys like this 15-year-old Miles Russell. What is it with all these young guys? Michael Thorbjornsen. I mean, so many great players are just jumping right up right now and grabbing these titles almost.
Yeah, I think it's cool just for the mere fact that when we were in college, I don't think we were ever on TV, right? We didn't see the NCAA championships. We didn't see any of these big college tournaments. I mean, I turn it on and I'm watching, college players play all the time when they're in season. So like Chris Kim, 16 years old, the kid can barely drive. Blades Brown, 16. Chris Kim made the cut at the CJ Cup in May. And Blades, what a great name. I mean, his dad is obviously a golfer. Names his son Blades. I mean, how cool is that? Yeah. He made the cut at the Myrtle Beach Classic. He finished tied for 26, 16 years old. It's just – and Miles Russell, 15, 2 Korn Ferry Tour events, made 1 out of 2 cuts. AJGA Player of the Year, youngest ever since TW. I mean, these kids are just so prepared. Everything is just so incredibly, basically from the standpoint of launch monitors and working out and things like that, nutrition. It's amazing how far it's come.
Yeah, the college programs have dialed these players in so well. I mean, I've seen recently the University of Alabama has some multi-million-dollar 9-hole facility right next to campus now with some beautiful clubhouse and the whole 9 yards. I mean, golf is really an important sport for these universities. And, you go around and everyone is trying to up the next one. And so we'll see how that all kind of plays itself out. These guys are just getting better and better each and every year. Well, one thing that's going to play itself out right now, and we're going to get to our picks this week. Now you got to have a plan. Once you get in to all of these categories that we love to get into, first round leader, head to head, finishing position winners, and long shots, you got to have a plan because you're not going to bet each one of these categories the same way each and every time. Now let's get into our first round leader category, because these are the ones where you really want to, just get off to a great start. You're going to look at these players, and we'll start with you, RD. And we've got one of these players is a twin, and the other player seems to play great at the end of the season. Both of his victories with JT Poston at the John Deere and the Wyndham Championship that come kind of later in the season. Explain yourself why you like these guys in first round.
Late bloomer is JT Poston. First, I want to start with Pearson Coody. I still might be a little bit in the afterglow of the 61 that he shot on the first round in Lexington at the ISCO, the opposite field event to the Open. He ended up finishing tied for second, of course, losing in the playoff. But that was some kind of a first round he had. And then 9 of his last 11, as I dug into it, 9 of his last 11 opening rounds are under par. There's a little extra pressure on an opening round because you can't win it, but you can lose it on a Thursday. So when he's playing that kind of consistent golf and then that explosive, the last tournament he played in, you can't not put a little sprinkle on Pearson Coody. And then JT Poston. My theory in this first round leader, because to go low, you got to make putts. You got to make putts. You can't just shoot a low round by stuffing it all day and missing. So one of the best putters in the field, JT Poston. I'm going to be digging a little more into JT as the show goes on, because I'm relying on the Postal Service to deliver this week. So I've got him in a handful of bets, actually.
All right. I like that. Now coming to you, Fast Eddie, you have a guy in your first round leader I've been personally very high on this year, a guy who's it's not his rookie season necessarily. He was on the PGA Tour a couple of years ago, got to the Korn Ferry Tour last year, finished in the top 5. Now is back, trying to just keep his card. He's a guy, he's not in these elevated events, these signature events, trying to make all the money, but he is in a pretty good spot with his golf game. Why do you like Ben Silverman?
Yeah, he is just kind of – he's not a guy that is kind of like an everyday name on the PGA Tour, but just looking at his recent play, he's made 7 straight cuts, 3 top 20s. He's 7th in first-round scoring average. He's in really good form. His 3 opening rounds, 67 at the Rocket Mortgage, 66 at the John Deere, 67 at ISCO. So he's been opening with solid rounds lately, and, he's in good form. So I just kind of – nothing really jumped out at me when I was looking at these players this week. So I saw that and I'm like, you know what, at plus 8,000, if you can find maybe a first round top 5 or top 10, might want to go with that as well, because he's pretty solid opening. Like I said, 7th in first round scoring average. So I love him. I think that's going to be a good play this week. Yeah,
we'll watch him. He looks like he's in pretty good position, to at least keep his card. One great week, maybe gets in that top 70. You never know. KC24J in the chat saying Rickie Fowler, he's struggling. What's going on with him? What's your guys' take on Rickie Fowler right now?
Got a baby on the way. It's tough playing golf, I mean, that's probably done for the rest of the season with that baby on the way. He struggled for a couple years, and then last year came back with a good solid season with that one big win at Rocket Mortgage, and he's kind of right back in the old position. I don't know what's in his head. I feel like he feels like his swing's solid. He's not doing all the hard work that he was before. When he was struggling on his swing, it seems a little more simple. The scores just aren't there. And honestly, to get a real answer, you'd have to crawl inside his head and walk in his shoes for a mile and figure it out, because you can't really watch him and put a finger on why he's struggling. He just kind of is doing everything a slightly less well than he has in the past.
Yeah, I look at his stats from last year. He was basically been down in every statistical category, and just one of those guys that, he's been up and down. It's kind of like the stock market in a way. So we'll have to keep our eyes on Rickie Fowler. One other thing we're going to keep our eyes on are our next category. This is our bread and butter, the head-to-head matchups. This is the one where you want to place a whole unit, whatever that is for you. If you're $100 better, keep it at $100, because this is the category where you only have to beat one other player. And so this is one where if you want to ramp up your wagers, this would be the perfect spot to do it. Now let's start with you, Fast Eddie. And you've got a few guys in here. One guy who's I love your pick right there on the top, guy who hits his irons as good as anybody, one of the best par 3 players out there. Talk about your 2 picks.
Tom Hoge plus 100 over Billy Horschel. Billy slept on the lead Saturday night. We all know what that's like when you're in the lead or in the hunt. You get the adrenaline. You might have a difficult time sleeping. And he played great on Sunday, just a little bit too short. But all that emotion, I think, is, and then you got to come over onto our side of the pond. It's gonna be tough on Billy. I think he's gonna come out a little flat. That's my guess, anyways. From previous times. I just like Hoge. Hoge, he finished tied for 3rd at the Travelers. Made the cut, but was never in contention last week. So he didn't have to go under the stress that Billy did. So I just look for him to play well from prior experience. And he's, like you said, Steve, I was going to say, he's such a good iron player. Par 3s. I mean, he's just a par 3 master. And then I love Patrick Rodgers. I've been high on Patrick Rodgers. I'm over Tommy Fleetwood. I'm not picking him anymore. I'm off Tommy Fleetwood. He broke my heart for the last time. But anyways, plus 100 over Eric Van Rooyen, tied for 5th last week at the Barracuda. And we all know how talented he was at Stanford. I think just one of these days he's going to put it all together. And I like that. I like that pick.
Now, RD, you're also fading Billy Horschel for the same reasons, and talk about your other picks as well.
Yeah, I absolutely was going to fade anyone that was in the mix on Sunday at the Open. It was, and frankly, Saturday, because Saturday's round was so hard. And then Sunday's round, the pressure of being the Open champion is so hard. And who grinds on a golf course visibly harder than Billy Horschel? Nobody does. His jaw is clenched. He's up there. He's doing all these dance moves with his putts. He thinks he's so it's a bit much to expect him to fly over. He said, "I'll be on the range at 7:30 a.m. at the 3M and not expect a letdown, and not just a letdown, jet lag. I mean, he's going to be screwed up for a while." So yeah, absolutely fading Billy Horschel. I think that was the way to go there. And then also, I've gone a little bit against what we were talking about early with the Luke Clanton bet. I've got Taylor Penrith at plus 100 over Luke Clanton. Luke, of course, made history by finishing top 10 2 weeks in a row. Then he goes into the ISCO as the top betting favorite. And, it goes from just being an enthusiastic amateur to all of a sudden you've got the press, you've got the pressure, you've got the spotlight. And he played okay, tied for 37th. But could the pressure be replacing some of the enthusiasm? So I think that, this is his 5th tour event. He's not as up and enthusiastic about it. He's kind of living the life a little bit now. And I wonder if that'll drag him down just a little. And I love Taylor Pendrith. I think he's playing great golf. Obviously, won in Dallas, tied 5th at Barracuda just last week. So a very, very good, pretty simple bet for me to make there. And then my last one was Ben Griffin's been showing up on the leaderboard quite a bit. I mean, he's one of the more quiet players on the tour. You don't really notice him, but holy cow, he's been playing some unbelievable golf. He missed the cut at the Open, but that to me doesn't mean bad play because Scottish golf is so different. That to me means he got 2 more days of rest than the other guys that in this tournament, that were playing over there or playing at even at Barracuda that were playing there. So we've got, with Ben Griffin, 2nd at Canadian, 5th at John Deere. He's been playing very, very well. And Maverick, he's missed his last 2 cuts. He had a nice start to the season, pretty solid all around. I actually bet quite a bit on him earlier, but he's been fading and going flat lately. So taking Ben Griffin, even money over Maverick McNeely.
Very interesting. Yeah, this point in the season, these guys, they've got a little pressure on them. A guy like Taylor Pendrith doesn't have that pressure. He has that victory in his pocket earlier in this year in Dallas. So I like those picks right there. I like both of you guys dialing this thing in. You guys got some really sharp minds. You got to tail these guys. If you haven't yet, this is really where you got to get them right here because we're coming down to the nitty gritty and these guys are ready to go. Now, finishing positions. Now, this would kind of be just, if the head-to-head is kind of your full unit, finishing positions, 3/4 of a unit, somewhere in there. This is where, you've just got to get the top 20s, the top 10s, those sorts of players. We've got a couple of parlays actually in the mix this week as well, which I found very interesting that you threw in there. So let's jump back to you, Mr. Damron, and what are your thoughts here? And start with your parlays because those are very cool. We don't do tons of parlay picks here, but I like where you're going here. I like where your mind is.
Well, when I was scouting my winners category, Poston, of course, was going to be up there for me. And Penrith was one I was really looking at him. I as we'll get to it later, we'll talk about who we think is going to win the tournament. But a top 10 parlay, meaning if they both finish in the top 10, I'm looking at getting 16-1 on my money back. I think that's just fantastic odds on that kind of thing. Parlay is not something I've looked at too much this year, but to get some little longer odds, we're not making a full unit bet on this. Those 2 players on a field that is not weak, but it's not that strong either. And these 2 guys playing very nice golf. It wouldn't surprise me at all knowing JT, his record here, and the Pendragon, the way he's been playing. Top 10, that's pretty easy money, I think. And then a little longer odds, and I'm going with the President's Cup picks, the President's Cup push, Cam Davis and Adam Svensson, and that is at plus 3,000. So if they can both slide in the top 10. Cam Davis, he touched me when he won Rocket Mortgage saying that he started doing hypnotherapy, going under to try to get his mind back in the right place. I actually did that. I've tried it myself, and it works if you want to stick with it, I think, to get rid of driver yips. I couldn't drive the ball on the planet or hit the ball solidly, and it gave me a little freedom, I think, or at least tricked me into thinking I had a little freedom. So I liked that touch from Cam Davis. I thought that was funny, and obviously, winning the tournament is pretty good reason to keep an eye on him. And then the Canadian Adam Svensson. He's not been playing wonderfully lately, but he did finish tied 16th at Travelers. He is a guy that I've watched on PGA Tour Live a few times lately, and an impressive player. So yeah, I think just those 2 parlays are interesting bets. And then back to just the regular top 10. Patrick Rogers, I'm with you. Fast Eddie. This kid's got it. He's playing good right now. He finished T5 at Barracuda. He's played 12 rounds at this golf course, 10 of them under par, 2 of them even par. So just good, solid golfer all around. Eric Van Rooyen, another guy, good, solid golfer all around, plus 360 to top 10 in a field that's not that strong. He's got a couple top 10s, a 4th and a 6th in the last 2 months. So not a bad bet at all there for EVR.
Now, Fast Eddie, I'm looking at your picks, and I'm kind of vibing off of your first round leader as well. And I think you're making these picks because Minnesota is about as close to Canada as you're going to get in the United States, and you've got a few Canadians that you're picking today. Ben Silverman, obviously, in the first round leader, but you got another one here that you're really dialing in for your top finishes here. Explain yourself.
From my perspective, Steve, if I'm a Canadian and I know the President's Cup is in a month and a half or 2 months, I want to be on that team more than anything. So he's 11th right now in the President's Cup, Adam. He's got a month to prove he belongs on the team. He's got to have a couple of good finishes. Obviously, he wants to play well, but he'd love nothing more than to play in front of his home crowd on the President's Cup. He has some work to do, but I think he's such a talented player, and his wife is hilarious on social media. But I like that pick. I think he's gonna play well this week. Plus 450 top 10, plus 210 for a top 20. But Nick Dunlap, I was surprised to see these odds. Plus 230 for a top 20. Just won last week. He played a lot of weeks in a row, and then he took the week before last off. So he was rested. He comes in last week, and if he was scoring, he would have shot 63 or 4 the final round. I think he wound up with 19 points or so. So I just think he's had 3 top 12s in his last 6 events. He's going to have another solid week. I mean, you got to ride that hot streak. When all of us know when we're playing well, we just want to keep playing. So I like him top 20, even top 10. Whatever the odds are, probably plus 420 or 450 or whatever he is. But I think it's a no-brainer for him for a top 20 this week. Yeah,
that's very, very interesting there. That's I really like your reasoning there. I think that an Adam Hadwin is a perfect fit for a venue like this. I mean, you look who won by 7 here last year, Lee Hodges. With 24 under, you don't have to necessarily be that bomber to really get the job done. So that's I really like what you're doing there. Before we head to the winners, we've got a little trailer here. Now we head to our winners presented by the Reagan the movie. Now our producer man is going to kick something off here. Show us what you're talking about, producer man.
Welcome to your life.
You can run from a bully for so long,
There's no
but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
I am about to start the biggest war of this century.
You told me you wanted to make a difference in this world.
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall!
wants to rule the world.
All right. Well, you're going to go see that movie. I mean, I know we're not getting political here yet.
Chills.
But, you kind of get those chills. We got a lot of things going on in the political world. I like that right there.
Really?
Anyway, yeah. Let's.
I didn't notice.
Anyway, yeah. You might have noticed something. Anyway. All right. Here's our winners. This is where our players, this is where you're going to just kind of throw in sprinkles in here in the winners and the long shots category that we'll get to in a moment. But RD, talk about your 2 picks right here and why you think these guys are going to be solid at in the winner's circle this year.
First and foremost, at plus 3,000 at 30-1, the value was the first thing that jumped out to me with these 2, known commodities. You've got JT Poston, who makes tons of putts, plays great here. We're talking horses for courses. I picked 2 horses for this golf course. JT tied for 2nd last year. Tie for 11th in 2022. Keith Mitchell tied for 2nd last year, 5th in 2021. So great, fantastic picks, guys that play really, really well in this golf course. Guys, JT not quite the ball striker that Keith Mitchell is, but he makes up for it with the putter. But Keith Mitchell is really one of the top, quietly and that's really what it takes around this golf course. But he's quietly one of the top ball strikers on tour. Tee to green, he's 6th. So yeah, you've got no worries about those two guys. I think that when you saw those two names, or when I saw the two names and the value attached to them, this is really the easiest pick of all the picks I've made this week.
Okay. All right. There it is right there. Now, Eddie, you like this guy, this Luke Clanton guy who's been showing up in a couple of these events this summer as an amateur. You think maybe he'll do what Nick Dunlap did earlier in this year, don't you?
Why not? I mean, it's the year for these young kids. It's absolutely incredible the level of play for these younger guys. It's, I mean, plus 2,500. I mean, 6 months ago, I didn't even know who Luke Clanton was. I mean, I knew who he was because I knew he played at Florida State, but back-to-back top 10s, which has never been done, right? 20, he's just he's an absolute stud. Like, watching him play, watching him hit it, watching his demeanor is very impressive. He's unfazed by the big boys, teeing it up. Oh, hey, how you doing? Let's go tee it up, and I'm gonna whip your butt. So I just love his strokes gained totally sits 3rd in this field, 3rd, and he's 20 years old.
Wow.
It's just he's amazing, and it would not surprise me to see another 20-year-old amateur win on tour. When was the last time two amateurs won in the same season on the PGA Tour? Never, probably. But I wouldn't be surprised with the level of play that these younger guys are coming in. And then, Sahith Theegala plus 2,000. He's an absolute horse. It's a great course for him. He's ranked 11th in the world, 7th in the FedEx Cup. And he's also 6th on the President's Cup ranking. So, he wants to play solid the next few weeks to really solidify that automatic bid. But I love both of these picks this week. And, Theegala is an absolute stud, and I think he's going to play well.
Yeah, I love that Luke Clanton. I really think that he's a great marketable young man. I listened to a lot of interviews that he did. I'm sure you guys did as well. Really, really smart guy. I think I saw him with Amanda Balionis at the John Deere Classic a couple weeks ago. Really well-spoken, but very relatable. I think he will do very, very well in the professional ranks whenever he gets there, but he could be there by the end of this week. You never know. All right, long shot category. This is our last one. This is the one where you just kind of throw a couple shillings at it, because this is, like it said, this is a long shot. This is one of those things that you just, you're going to throw something at the board and hope it sticks. So, RD, you got a couple guys, and one of those guys right there is another one of these fresh-faced young guys right out of college.
One that we really haven't given love to yet in this show, but one that we certainly want to pay attention to. Of course, the low amateur in the Masters and the U.S. Open. I had to do an interview with him actually on SiriusXM not that long ago, and I asked him, why are you guys so ready to win coming right out of college? What are they doing differently now outside of TrackMan, which we didn't have when we were in college? But what are they doing differently now? He says it's the competition. It's just straight how good everyone is and how much better you've got to be to contend. So they come out and they're fearless. They know their numbers. They don't have to play tons of golf to learn exactly how to hit a high cut 4-iron that flies 187 in the air, that kind of stuff, because they can do it on their TrackMan, whereas it used to take us a lot of time on the course just playing to figure that stuff out. So plus 9,000, Neil Shipley's got great hair too. Love it. Him and Badley, maybe the two best hair in the world. And then I'm picking a guy that's a little bit on the comeback trail. His last 4 events, T10th, T23, 45th, 29th. He's a proven winner and a veteran on tour, as JJ Spawn. He won at Valero. So, yeah, just the comeback trail. I think that he was playing very well last week for a couple rounds, didn't quite finish it off. But this is the long shot category. So you have to kind of try to find reasons to pick someone that you don't necessarily like to win the tournament, but I'll drop a couple bucks on that. Sure. Who knows? We'll roll the dice and see what happens.
We'll roll up. We'll shake it up a little bit. I like that. Yeah. Now, Fast Eddie, you're shaking it up quite a bit here with the plus 17,000 pick and a guy who almost won a couple weeks ago in Kentucky at the ISCO. Explain yourself.
Yeah, Mr. Norlander. plus 17,000. He finished 11th last week at Barracuda, so he, played well. He's from Sweden. A lot of people don't know about this guy, but he's had 3 runner-up finishes in his PGA Tour career. 7 top 5s, 9 top 10s. He is in form, especially with none of the whales here this week. I think it could prove to be a very good week for this Swede. He's 140th in FedEx Cup standing, so he needs a great week to get in position to make the playoffs. So, and Rico Hoey plus 6,000. This kid is an absolute stud. He's 28, so he's a little bit older than just getting out of college, but he's only had 21 starts in his PGA Tour career. Last 4 starts, 6th, 26th, 2nd, and 8th. He's figured something out and seems to be riding this momentum to the end of the year. He's 5th in strokes gained total and love this pick. I really think he's going to play well. Look for him to have a big week. I would also ladder him. He's plus 280 for a top 20 finish. I think he's been playing so well that I think that's a good way to end this segment. So, yeah. Mr. Holy.
I just love the name Rico Suave.
Uncle Rico.
Man, he's pretty smooth. He's pretty smooth. And yeah, he might get that victory this week. You never know. Definitely kind of a year for the haves and the have-nots. I mean, this is kind of one of those events. The field is not super strong if you're looking at world rankings or FedEx Cup rankings, but somebody's going to change their life this week, and maybe it's one of the long shots. And hopefully for you guys and everybody tailing you guys, they do. All right, let me get your final thoughts before we head into this 3M Open this week. RD, what say you here at the end?
Exhausted after a big week at the Open at Royal Troon. The course played so hard. It was so much fun to watch. We got exactly what we wanted from an Open Championship, a worthy champion, of course, but also we saw some of that weather. We saw them get their butts kicked for a couple days out of the 4, and it wasn't easy on any of the days. So, well done. Great setup over there at Royal Troon. Very deserving winner, in Xander Schauffele. So great work, great fun to watch. Nothing like waking up in the morning, turning on major championship golf while you're having your coffee.
I know. I wish we could just have a few more weeks of Scottish golf. I think that would be very cool. But we got our couple, and that's it. So anyway, Fast Eddie, your thoughts here. I know you're still riding on cloud 9 from the victory the other day, but what are your thoughts going into this week?
So I had about a 7-hour drive on Friday home, right? And I said, oh my God, I am going to do absolutely nothing the next 2 days except watch the Open Championship. So it was a tough drive home. It rained the whole way. It was terrible. I got home around 11 o'clock at night, but I grabbed my coffee and just sat my happy ass on the couch and watched golf Saturday and Sunday. It was awesome. Schauffele's an absolute stud. He's figured it out. I think he's gonna win multiple more majors in his career, and it's gonna be fun. I think there might be a little bit of a rivalry between Scotty and Xander. Going forward, I think that could be the next new really, the hot rivalry in golf. So we'll see what happens, but it's gonna be fun, and the Olympics coming up too.
Yeah, a lot of great golf here to finish this PGA Tour season. Can't wait to see it all happen. All right, well, that's all the knowledge that we're going to drop this week. We're so glad we can educate and entertain you this afternoon. Thank you, producer man, for all of the things that you do in keeping this show, making it look like 24 karat gold. So good each and every week. And thanks to our best minds in the business, Fast Eddie Fernandes and RD, Robert Damron. So great to have you guys. And the coach is going to be back next week driving this ship. I appreciate you letting me kind of cruise this thing down the road this week. And hopefully we'll keep all the followers and maybe increase a couple this week. And hopefully I push them all the way. But I want to thank all of you guys out there in the DTL universe, though. And I wanted you to really think about, as you put your wagers down this week, and I want you to, what you're going to do after each and every day is you're going to take those shoes off the shelf back there, and you're going to lace those shoes up, and you're going to tie them real tight. You're going to walk out that door, and you're going to march down the street. You're going to look around, and you're going to see all your friends from the DTL universe walking with you. And you know where you're marching? Do you know where you're going? You're going straight to the pay window this week. That's where you're going. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Good luck on your picks. And we will see you again real soon.